Hey, what's up guys? This is NWEpic and I am doing something a bit different than normal on my channel. Together with my co-host Naanman, we're doing an anime podcast. We still don't have a solid name for it yet, so if there are any suggestions along with any comments or feedback, please leave it in the comments below. With that said, I hope you enjoy. So Summer Wars, produced by Madhouse.
Yep.
Mamoru Hosoda, is it Hosoda or is it Hosoda? I forget. I wrote it down, but I don't know if that's an O or an A. I think it's Hosoda. Hosoda, yeah. Go ahead.
I really like the animation style. Like the flat palette and the lack of, I don't want to say anatomy. Like they're very like free form with the animation regarding characters and people.
Yeah, I can't give you technicals because I'm not too technical with I guess technique and such, but it's definitely a looker, not just in animation, but even let's say stills or just background and whatnot. I did do a little research, and he based a lot of the geography, or I guess the location, on his girlfriend's family's location, or no, his fiance at the time, like family's location and stuff in Ueda. It's beautiful, like it's really beautiful. I guess to preface real quick, just before we start like digging into it, I first watched this show like years ago. I didn't remember the date until I guess I looked it up on Toonami. They had advertised it. I didn't know anything about it. Saw the show, like the advertisement. I was like, man, I really want to watch this. And I remember just kind of being like blown away by it, like Studio Ghibli or Disney movies type blown away. Like, whoa, this is awesome. This is a great movie. It was like 2013. And apparently I wasn't alone, because looking at the stats for it, I think they said like 1.36 million people tuned in to watch Summer Wars on that day. And I think that was only a one-time premiere. I think they did it twice, but like that was it. They only premiered it twice. And I don't know, it's a really magical movie, just kind of moving, really, I guess. Like the pace is good, the story is great, the characters are relatable. Like obviously when we said we were going to talk about this, there was no way I was going to remember anybody's name except for like maybe the three main-ish characters, right? But in a way, like all of those characters are main characters, like they're all important in their way. And I don't know, it's a great movie to me. I think it's one that stuck to me. It's one I don't necessarily go back and watch a lot of stuff again, just because I have so many games that I play, I have so many manga that I read, so many anime that I could be watching. Like going back to look at something again is not something that I would do necessarily at this point in my life, but I can honestly say, Summer Wars is something I could see myself maybe once a year, twice every year or so, sitting down and watching.
It's only like 90 minutes or so.
Exactly. I funnily enough that you say that, I was looking at the Blu-ray for it because I guess to preface again, I actually got my wife to watch both of these, so I can add a little bit about that as well. But I was looking at the back of the Blu-ray and it said 40 minutes. I was like, huh? This is only 40 minutes? And then I realized that was just special features. But for a second, I was confused. I was like, there's no way this movie is 40 minutes. I know better. I think it's 110, I think. Where did I see that at? Something like 115 or something like that. But yeah, it comes and it goes. And I will definitely say too, in contrast to the Darian that watched this, maybe 7 years ago, I know a lot more now. Japanese culture for one, and Hanafuda for one. So I have some things to say about the Hanafuda, at least the last game. But yeah, is there anything you like to add to that, I guess?
Well, I guess regarding the plot, or yeah, just the plot, I would say. The main character, Kenji, his importance kind of disappeared toward middle-ish of the movie. Like, I felt like he was supposed to be like more into it or something, but it makes sense that he doesn't want to be very prominent into whatever family drama is happening.
Yeah. And I agree with that. But I think that's also a strength of the movie. Like, just with the amount of characters used in the plot of it, like your main, air quotations, your main character, like kind of just dissipates in his role. And yet the rest of the supporting cast just carries the story until, he's kind of relevant again. And I don't know, just the dynamic of Kenji himself, like, working with this strange, upbeat, like loud family. I guess I resonate with him in a way too, because like I wouldn't know how to respond to all this craziness and, getting pulled into this scheme with the prettiest girl in the school or whatever. Like, I'm now her fiance lyingly to her family members. Like, man, I don't know. I don't know about that, but yeah, just like you said, like he was very fluid on, when he needed to be important. And I think they did a good job of like taking him out when he didn't really need to be in the forefront, and then, putting him back in when he actually needed to, shine as a character. I would definitely say, like, funnily enough, on that point, Natsuki doesn't really do much in the movie outside of be like, the young girl into her older, I guess, half blood related great uncle. But I mean,
she definitely disappeared more than Kenji.
Yeah, like her main point was to bring Kenji to this family, and that was it. Like, there's the little plot point with the uncle, like I said, and actually, really, that's it. Like, that's really it with her. And again, the romance, like, I like the romance of Summer Wars, but it's not the main focus of this show. It's just kind of like a little side, like, yes, good feeling sort of thing, at least with Kenji and Natsuki. But she's not that important. And
yeah, it's nice to see that, actually.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm glad they didn't like shoehorn her in unnecessarily. I will say I guess she learned from her grandmother. I'm kind of skeptical how she was the best fit to play Hanafuda towards the end. I know I may be getting ahead of myself, but there was no, I guess, build up to her being great in Hanafuda outside of, seeing her play with
there's no Chekhov's gun.
Yeah.
The Chekhov's gun, the what do you call it? The storytelling mechanic.
I vaguely know what you're referring to.
Where if you show something on screen, it's probably important and should play a role later in the content or media. But I didn't really get that regarding that, having her play Hanafuda.
Yeah, no. Which I guess too, well, not her as far as her having the skill to, be great at it, but I guess, they interplace it here and there, like the game of choice is Hanafuda, the granny plays Kenji at a pivotal moment, her and Wabisuke, that's his name. They play it. Of course, Kenji's trying to learn it. I guess for the role that it plays in the movie, it's just kind of, I wouldn't say shoehorned, but it's there. And I think, again, that's just a replacement for, I guess, the original battles that were in our war games, which I didn't get a chance to watch, but I will watch. And we can shortly talk about, the correlations between that and Summer Wars, but it doesn't detract from the movie in any way. It's just, I guess in my eyes, it was kind of like heroine has to be heroine at the last second, even though she really didn't do much in this movie,
Yeah, it doesn't take away from the enjoyment at all.
Yeah.
I really like the part where all the family members started bringing in their equipment from random places.
Yes. I wanted to talk about that. Just, I don't know what's getting ahead of myself. So I guess we can just dig into it, really just the meat. But like, I will say after rewatching it, years later, I guess with a more mature mindset, it's very suspect to me that the Jinochi family just has somebody in place that was capable of taking care of everything. Like if you needed a super teraflop computer, you had the guy to take care of that. If you needed a guy with a huge fishing boat for power, you had somebody to take care of that. If you needed somebody who was probably some kind of assassin in the Japanese military, I don't know what his position was, but he was able to go get his antenna. He could take care of that. Like, I guess these were very convenient people. Like everything in the world, it felt like, or at least in Japan's world, was tied to the Jinochi family. Like Wabisuke, literally the freaking creator of the main antagonistic AI, right? Or hell, even Kenji's role, just being a huge math nerd. Everything was a little too, what's the word? I guess available in a way. Like there was somebody skilled up to the task, or rather, this family almost felt like they controlled everything, or they had a hand in everything. You know what I mean?
I feel like it contributed to how large the family was, or their involvement in society.
Yeah, and I mean that is I guess a big point of it. Like it's this huge family, and they're spread out, and they have these things, which I guess really like. I like the scene where Oz is down, right, and then Granny or Sakai, she's making all these calls to all these people, and I mean that's really realistic, right? She's obviously, she's no stranger, she's not shy, she has this huge family, she's probably done all of these humanitarian acts, but she just calls up all these people that she knows to like, hey, get your butt in gear, go do this, go do that, right? And for me, that makes a lot of sense. Like that feels believable, Now, to the effect of people actually getting up on their butt and doing it, that's one thing. But, her making these calls to all of these people, making these favors of all these, politicians and powerful people, like that was like, that's something that makes sense. What didn't feel right to me was just, just how, I guess, centered on the family, like I expressed earlier, like just, they seem to be the cause and the resolution for everything, even though the effects of everything was worldwide. It's fine that they solved the problem, but they also seem to be the cause of the problem too. And they were the cause of the mediation towards the solution. Like they were it. If you needed something fixed, they were taking care of it. Like even Kenji's not a part of the family, but like even the fact, like he solved the problem, right? But why was it that Love Machine took his Oz avatar instead of one of the, I don't know, it was like 35, maybe 51 people?
That's true. Well, they might not have Oz accounts.
But they had to have Oz accounts, like at least from, well,
I guess we can assume that everyone has an Oz account.
Yeah. Well, I think the AI just sent it from, it sent it to all of these people that had Oz accounts, right? And even if that's not the case, I would imagine there was at least one person that was from Japan, because while Oz is worldwide, I know they did at least specify that it is a central part of Japan's ecosystem, not necessarily the entire world's. So, I guess in a sense that would make sense, but by the way they just defined it, like it should have taken somebody else's avatar, not Kenji's, and yet it took Kenji's. which is, I guess, it's one of those things. I do like
an interesting story.
Yeah, that's true too. You got to frame them some way, but I do like I won't call it a cop out, I guess, but I will like the loophole they made for him in the end that he messed up the one character. But it makes sense. It kind of makes sense because I looked at it like this. Yes, if you're gonna make him a super math nerd, he should probably be spot on. But it is English that he wrote, and he is Japanese. So I mean, maybe he made that mistake. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if that would like absolve him from guilt. Like, it was the last character. Do you really need the last character to be able to read what the word says?
No. I definitely agree. No, he is guilty as all hell. Like, when I saw that they were just like, "Wow, you're not the criminal." I'm like, "Yes, he is. Yes, he is." Like, he only missed one character. You can read this. Like, all of you that know English can read this. Like, there is no absolution of his crimes. Like, he is still a criminal who gets a random encryption key and solves it and then sends it. And he's a quote unquote code monkey, so he should at least have some kind of security training to know better. I don't know.
He might have not been the first one to send a reply back.
Oh, he wasn't. He got beat, but I mean, it was just like.
I mean, he got beat on correctness, but I don't know if they mentioned it was whoever was first.
And maybe that's true. That's actually true. Maybe that's why his account got stolen. Maybe he was the first one to actually, I guess, crack it. But he didn't necessarily get it right per se. But he was the first one to reply, and then maybe Love Machine just took over his profile first. I don't know. That's
It actually kind of makes that scene kind of more of a cop out.
Yeah, right. So I don't know. I don't know how you fix that little instance, but I mean, for what it does for the plot, it's not a horrible thing. That's just more nitpicking than anything. But I don't know, Kenji. Yeah, going back to just the importance of every character in the family. That just after a rewatch, I was just kind of, this is a little too. I can't think of the word right now, but just a little too perfect, I guess. A little too. Everybody's where they need to be, or everybody's, involved in some sort of way.
Except for that policeman guy, man.
Oh, you're talking about the what was he, a distant second cousin or something like that? The one that was in love with Natsuki.
I don't think he was in love with Natsuki. He was just very defensive over her.
I think he liked her. I will say I watched. Yeah, right. I did watch the dub actually. I didn't watch the sub. I watched the sub a while ago, a few years back. But I was just like, especially since I had my wife with me, I was just like, I'll watch the dub. And I'll talk about the dub later because we're talking about that. But yeah, the police officer, he was made to be hated. So I say good job.
Oh, I really hated it when he took all the ice out of the room.
Oh my gosh, Jesus. Yes, man. Like, I get it, but I don't get it. Like, you see all this ice next to this huge supercomputer. You could have got ice from anywhere else, right? Or these are huge ice blocks, man. You don't need all of those. Just one. I mean, she's already dead, man. Like, I get it. Maybe you don't want her decomposing rapidly in the summer heat, but like, you only need one. And close the door or something. Like, gosh, that.
Also, to Colin's question about the condensation on that computer might have been pretty bad.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that was not the best solution. I mean, for what it was, I guess it's a smart, like,
stop.
We have this stuff. Yeah, but man, that computer's he ain't selling that after.
Where did you even get the ice from? I forgot. Or did they tell?
I think they got that from the fisherman dude.
Why has he got ice in his fish bowl?
To keep the, I will say when we catch fish,
well, yeah, you put them in
the ice in it, to keep it from decomposing, I guess. So
maybe it might have been another family member. I don't know.
It could have been another family member. I'm actually not sure where they get that ice from. So readily, right? Just solid blocks of ice.
I like the attention to detail when the kid asked for a CRT.
Yeah, right.
That was pretty neat.
Yeah, like they were, I guess, trying to throw their knowledge in. They're like, man, this monitor is so laggy. Can I just get a CRT? But then, of course, that goes back to my previous statement. Is like, coming right up. Of course, you have one. Of course, you readily have one available in this specific time frame when you're crunching time. You can just go find the CRT. Like
they're like in the top of a hill, like miles away.
Right. But again, it works in the movie. Like, great movie.
If these family members didn't have all these things, it would make an interesting movie.
Yeah. So
another detail.
Yeah.
Right, go ahead.
I was just gonna say there has to be some suspension of disbelief, but I mean, it was a little more obvious to me this go around than maybe probably previous watches. But you brought up attention to detail. I like to point out a scene that I thought was, really like touching, like just a really great scene. Probably the best scene for me in the movie. This is right after the grandmother dies. And you just see everybody just like kind of somberly sitting around, right? Yeah. But then you start to hear the baby cry. And then the mother, she gets up and, she just kind of gallops away and she's just like sorry quietly. And, she goes to feed the baby. And there's something so realistic about that scene to me. And I guess the point they were trying to make is, life ends, but life also continues, I guess that's what they were going for there. But before you even get to that in your mind, like there's just something so grippingly human about that scene to me. Like just seeing her like, sorry, like get up and walk away. And, you just see everybody else just dead inside, like just broken. And I don't know that I felt something on that scene. Like that was such a powerful scene to me. I don't know if anybody else could say the same thing, but for me, I've seen that, I've experienced that. Like that, it was like, I know I've just been ranting about how unrealistic a lot of the stuff in the movie is, but so many aspects of it were realistic. And again, a scene like that was just fantastic to me. Like,
I feel like it hit, well, I guess the entire movie, but that scene kind of hit hard when it was in the Japanese dub. Yeah. Because the way the speech was in the sub it was more realistic. It was casual. It was not super enunciated like you would see with traditional anime series. It felt like a casual conversation between actual like Japanese people.
Yeah. And again, like, I watched the dub, so I can't comment too much on that, but I will say the dub is fantastic. Like the voice actors work, they're doing really good on the line. Somebody may refute that point, and that's fine. But for me, like I am a stickler for dub. Like dub just doesn't work for me anymore. But they really, really did a good job. I actually recognize some people, which they weren't too important in the grand scheme of things, which was kind of interesting to me. But they really did a good job. Like even in, I think where sometimes like English dub can kind of fail in the nuance, like you said, like how in that particular scene, like the Japanese or, how they talk with each other, it's a natural sort of, you know what I'm trying to specify, but they're even too, like the delivery was just on point, I think everywhere. Like, I don't think there was a weak performance. It could be argued that there may be some weak performances, but like just really, really strong. And you know, they felt like those were those characters. Like they felt like they were in those moments. Even, you know, I guess maybe stuff that probably would be easier to, what's the word, sell in a Japanese, you know, with Japanese or what have you. I think they did an amazing job with that dub. Of course, that was the first way I watched that movie, so maybe that's just nostalgia in my mind. But I honestly think that they did a great job with the dub. Again, you can never replace the natural nuance of a, you know, show in its natural language, but a very, very strong effort. One of the best dubs I've heard in a long time.
I think another small detail I really liked was at the end when the capsule was falling. It didn't fly off like way off to some random direction. It hit nearby.
Yeah.
Slightest push.
Yeah. And I was actually, actually thought about that too. Because when we were watching it, we were kind of like, how do you make it move? And in the back of my mind was, I hope they don't cop this out and like put it somewhere in some random field and nothing happens. But no, like it loosely moves. It still kind of somewhat goes to the house, but then it slightly, you know, moves out of the way. But there's still damage. Like it messes up the house. Like it destroys it.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, no, because she really liked the house. She was pissed when the I guess he's the uncle or the fisherman guy when he brought the boat in through the gate and he destroyed the gate. She was like, no. And so, but yeah, I really like that touch because it is, I mean, for how realistic it is that a, you know, family has set up this huge thing against this AI that they play Hanafuda against, where they've, you know, moved a incoming satellite, you know, for how realistic that is, slightly subverting it and, you know, still doing major damage to everything. You know, the fact that nobody got hurt, that's fine. But, you know, I'm sure there was some cuts and scratches or whatnot, but yeah, that was pretty good. I think they did a great job there with the ending.
Speaking about the AI, why is it no one else is fighting it? I don't know.
Again, that goes back to my point. Like this family is just, they are the rulers of this universe. See, if they're not doing anything, then you're just SOL, man.
I guess.
Which I guess in the final fight, or I guess the final Hanafuda match, right? You have the little German boy that like steps up and he's like, let's do this, right? I give you my avatar. Then the rest of the world, you know, follows suit. But it is very true. Like nobody else is trying to, you know, fight this AI. And again, that could also be, like we mentioned earlier, while Oz is the, I guess, main infrastructure for the entirety of Japan, that's not necessarily the case for other countries, at least how they explained it. So maybe nobody else was really aware. Nobody else really cared in other countries because, you know, not that big of a deal. But
yeah, I guess it's a crisis only in Japan.
Yeah.
But they got the U.S. Army satellite, you know? Yeah. Odds.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's very true, right? So, I mean, I don't know. The way, at least the dub, the way they worded it, like, very important, or like, integral to Japan, also everywhere else. But, yeah, I don't know. If you're not the Jinochi, let me say that right. Jinochi family. If you're not the Jinochi family, I guess you wait unless, you know, you get called on by them to assist, because I don't know, they're going to take care of it. Even down to Cosmo, man. Like, of course, the greatest PvP player on Oz is a part of that family. Like, come on.
Yeah.
What is the coincidence, right? Man. And since I keep talking about the, I guess, Love Machine, or I guess let's talk about Love Machine first. Like, as an antagonist, I guess, I don't know, pretty good, I guess. I like its first design, you know, I don't know which Buddha or not Buddha, I guess which religion you would necessarily associate with him with. I think it's Buddhism. I could be wrong. That could be yeah, it's probably ignorant speaking on my part, but I do like his design. I like the design he takes on. And funny, and this will, I guess, rear its head when we talk about Konosuba. But something I mentioned with my wife was the main antagonist of these movies seems to have something to do with love, in a sense. Love Machine.
I see.
Right. So we'll talk about Konosuba later, but like, you know, I guess the AI, in a sense, you could even say it was built by Wabisuke for his grandmother because, you know, he stole the inheritance. But he went off to America, designed this AI. He was going to bring the fortune that the government paid him, you know, back to his family. So in a sense, I guess, you know, it was built out of love, but then there's the literal love machine with this giant heart coming out of his forehead. And it's just like, I don't know. But I think, you know, like I was talking about, I guess, with Yu Yu Hakusho earlier, the sense of desperation felt pretty good in this series. I don't know if I ever felt like, you know, yeah, the protagonists are going to take care of it. Like, there's a natural, like, sense of dread here, you know, even up to the final moments, like we discussed earlier with the satellite. Like, you don't really know what's going to happen at the end, right? Like, the movie hasn't showed its hand to be just, you know, super depressing or dark. So I guess you kind of figure it's fine. Everything's going to be okay. But, you know, outside of, you know, the grandmother dying, but I mean, she's 90 years old, man. Like, yeah.
She didn't even get to have her birthday.
Right. Right there. Right there.
I think probably the most intensive scene I felt was when he's cracking the code at the end of the movie.
Yes.
You got the first password, second password, third password. He does in his head. That's crazy. I was like, oh,
right,
shit, dude.
Right. And I've forgotten about that, and it's just kind of intense. And like, I think it's the fact of how many times they did it. I think there's some kind of, I don't know, some kind of, I can't think of what the name is for it, but it's a type of thing that you do in literature or in fiction or whatever, right? Or in the storytelling, where like you'll do something so many times, I guess just to get a reaction out of the audience, or, you know, disbelief, or like, ooh, like you actually feel some sort of anxiety for Kenji and the family. Like, you know, the first time it's like, okay, that makes sense. The second time, yeah, that makes sense. I don't remember if it was 3 or 4 times, but once you start getting towards the end, it's like, oh my gosh, really? And then you see that look on his face, and then you start to see his eyes twitching, his nose bleeding.
The nose bleed.
And then you realize, like, oh man, my dude is doing this in his head. Like, he's like, my hand is inefficient right now. I'm just gonna. And you see him like slowly typing out the password again while the clock is ticking down. And it's just like, man, that's intense. Yeah, I think they did a good job with the antagonist, even down to like the small, like understandable things, right? Of just when a huge system like that is gone down, and, you know, everyday life is dependent on that. And, you know, for them, it hit home when their grandmother died because she had agnia, and, you know, the house doctor that they had didn't realize that, you know, something was going wrong until she died because of that. And you don't know how much longer she could have lived, but she was dead. but it doesn't extend to her. It extends to everybody in the world, really. You know, there's probably multiple people that were killed by this, you know, or got sick or something happened. Hell, you can even probably draw parallels to, you know, what's going on with us today with something like that, right? Like, obviously, no giant infrastructure has gone down, unless you want to count like Cloudflare, but I don't think anybody died from Cloudflare going down. But you know, just with the pandemic, like things have shaking up so much. You know, there's been so much death and chaos and madness, and I'm waiting for the Ginochi family to pop up and be like, all right, we're going to take care of everything. I'll hold my breath for them to show up, you know. Maybe Sakai will call me up soon and be like, guess you're my 86th distant nephew from something, something, something. Please go do your part. But yeah, I think pretty good antagonist to the show.
Yeah, there's one thing related to about how this affects other people and the cast themselves that really didn't. I guess it hit me when Kenji spoke up about we should do something to stop this from happening to other people, and the women of the family were like, how can you be thinking about other people like this right now? Like, yeah, they have you're right, but there's not much you could do about your dead grandma right now.
Yep.
You can help fix odds, but they're like, nah.
No, we're gonna go switch these red buns out. And yeah, I think that's a very realistic, very like a cute point the movie made. Because honestly, I think that's a realistic, you know, kind of reaction to that. Because first and foremost, you know, I think Kenji did grow a genuine bond or at least liking for the grandmother. But like, he is not technically a part of that family. He only knew them for the few days that he was there. Yeah. And, you know, it shows tremendous like character growth or even like, you know, characterization for Kenji to even in this household full of people not related to him, really no association with him, to just get up and be like, hey, you guys are awesome. I think we should try to fix this problem because I don't know if anybody else can, but we can do something to save other people. But then anybody, you know, who's gone through extreme loss, like Sakai held that family together. So anybody, you know, who loses somebody so important like that, they're going to be like, dude, I will F you up right now. Don't you see? like they were sad. They were broken, you know,
it's definitely a fair reaction.
Yeah. But then I also like, you know, not to be misogynistic or sexist, but I do think that would be the genuine reaction of the men and the women, because like just dealing with my own family of people, I think, you know, they would understand that, yes, we need to step up and do something, but they would be grief stricken. They would be in their initial emotion, right?
Yeah.
And the guys would be too. And I think that's the central key here. Like, I think all of the men felt the same way as the women, but they also heard Kenji and they realized that, yeah, we need to do something, especially since a lot of them, you know, were servicemen, you know, firemen, policemen, stuff like that. So they already had a certain sense of duty to, you know, other people that were not their own family. And so just seeing him, like, you know, band together with the men of the family, especially the uncle. Like, I love the uncle or the grandfather. I forget what he is. I know he's Sakai's direct son. But the fishing guy, just him and the War Tales, and like, getting to see him, I guess, live out his one victory. That's a cool moment.
At first,
definitely like you said.
Yeah. At first, I was thinking like that the reaction from the women was just like a cultural thing that I probably didn't get since Japanese and thing. But now that you pointed out like the men being servicemen, I like that. Like I like that take a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, even because I think the initial men he was talking to, like, you don't see the servicemen per se because they don't come in until a bit later in the movie, but it's the computer guy, it's the, I guess, grandfather / direct son, who is a fisherman, but also, I guess you would call him a war otaku, or at least a family otaku, because he loves that history of his family. And then you have the guy who's in the military, so he's definitely a serviceman, and like the computer guy points it out, he's like, we have very strong women, and having a wife that is a very strong woman, and having women in my family that are very strong women, like I connected with that because I understood that 100%. Like it was believable, it was very believable. So yeah, definitely a good scene and whatnot. I don't know. There's a lot of good parts of this movie. I could talk about it a lot, to be honest. Was there anything else that stood out to you?
If I had to pick one, it'd probably be when one of the women is watching all the guys fight the guy, and she mentioned, "This is just a game, right?"
Oh yeah, that's a good scene. Yeah, yeah, she was watching. Oh, and you're talking about the scene where she, I guess the mom of Kazuma. I do remember his name because King Kazuma. She walks in, and he got beaten again because of the police officer, doing his stunt or whatever.
Yeah.
By the way, that was a very satisfactory punch. Like when he straight up just swung on him, full frontal. I was like, yes. It's very satisfying. But yeah, when the mom walks in and just sees the son like in despair, and then it just kind of hits everybody like, this is not a game. Like they didn't band together, just for any ridiculous reason. Like they're literally going to die. And yeah, that's a good scene as well. I agree. I'm saving my last scene for last because I just want to rant. I want to end it on a good note because this is a fantastic movie, but I just want to rant about this particular scene. So
yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
those.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up then. Last thing I want to talk about, the final match. And when I say the final match, I mean the literal final match. This is after, she gets down to the last 2 accounts. And then, the people around the world, like, which is also a really good scene. I like that scene. But when she gets all of the accounts and they play that final set of Hanafuda, I have never known how to play Hanafuda until recently. Very fun game, very, very fun game. But I've learned, how the game works. And literally, the plays that she makes, the hand that she gets at the end, impossible, improbable. There's no way she got that hand. When I realized what was going on, like the pairs that she got, just everything I felt about that movie, just like I threw that out the water for a second. I was like, bullshit. That's the only thing I could think. I can't tell you the specific names of the pairings, but I don't know if you remember specifically what she got. but she got 3 ribbons. I know that's like 8 points. She got the deer. I forget what kind of little animal that is. And then there's the it's like a flower. It's like the roses. That's also 8 points. These are all like high point pairs that you would never. Do you know how to play Hanafuda?
No.
Okay, you don't know how to play Hanafuda. Okay, just briefly to go over the game. You get dealt like a certain number of cards, right? I think it's 5, and then you lay out the top 8 cards onto the field. So in every Hanafuda deck, there is 4 cards that are in a set, right? And so that means there's 2 pairs for each set. So for instance, let's say you have the heel out there, right? That means there's 3 other heel cards. So it's my turn. I can put the heel, one of the heels out there, and then I get those cards. And the objective of the game is to get specific combinations of cards from these pairs that you pick up. And not all cards in a set are the same. So for instance, like there's a heel with a moon, and then there's just a heel. Just the heel is not worth anything, but the heel with the moon is a very good card. It is a very powerful card. You want to get that as soon as possible, right? That's just a surface level, probably confusing explanation of Hanafuda. But you know, the koi aspect comes from once you get a certain pair, like a certain combination of cards, you can either take the points or you can yell koi and continue to play, and you can continue to get more pairs. Of course, that gives your opponent the opportunity to get a certain pair and then, you know, stop and take the points for that round. Anyways, to explain that, she got some of the highest point pairs. She literally got the highest point pair and then some of the more supplementary highest pairs in the game. And when I saw that, I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, I mean, even if you don't know how to play Hanafuda or koi or whatever you want to call it, right? When you watch that last match, you don't see any contention. You don't see any struggle. Like, she's literally just like, koi, right? And so even if you don't know the game, like, you know that she's just blowing him out of the water in that last match. But watching it as an individual that knows what's going on, watching her like get the ultimate like 5-card pair on top of like these other like great pairs, get out of here, movie, get out of here. And I was audibly complaining, but my wife, she made a very good point. The whole, you know, buffing scene of her avatar, right?
Yeah.
Like by the deities. So I'm assuming that she got supreme.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Oh, you're remembering the scene I'm talking about?
No, I'll go after this.
Okay. Well, yeah, the scene where she gets like, you know, the gift from the deities, the 2 whales, and she transforms. I can only assume that that's luck. She got a luck skill from that, right? And that's why she got such a fantastic hand and was able to do that. But that also begged into questions, why didn't the deities come in with that luck later?
Yes,
or
exactly.
earlier?
They're supposedly the guardians of Oz. What are they doing?
Right. So apparently they just been floating around. I guess they have the same sadistic, you know, tendencies as a love machine. Like, let's see how much these humans can suffer, right? Before we step in. But no, we're not going to step in until literally, you know, the final match of the game, because this is fun. But like, they don't even describe that she got a luck stat. Like, if you know how to play Hanafuda, there is disbelief there, because it's just like, even if you don't know how to play Hanafuda, you realize like she's just blasting him. And I guess, you know, you contribute that to the luck skill. But again, like, that is a super hard thing to pull off. It's one thing to get the 5-card pair, but it's another thing to get the supplementary pairs that she got on top of, you know, saying koi each time and the love machine not like stealing the points from her or stealing the set from her. So I was just, get out of here. Summer Wars, no. But that's all I have to say on that scene. Not to rag on that too much. But was there something else you were going to point out? Was it literally
it was the whales?
The deities. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So I guess to wrap that up, because we've talked about Summer Wars for an hour.
Oh man. Are we going to break this up into parts, or in terms of
probably
episodes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just break. Yeah, we can just break it up. But
should probably put a disclaimer for spoilers for Summer Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great movie.
Yeah.
Definitely a 10 out of 10 if you wanted to give it a point rating. It really sells its theme of family, I think. And even, for those who don't have family, like it gives you that warmth, right? It sells you on the location. Like obviously the early portions, where they're traveling on the bus and stuff, like you get to watch the locales and stuff pass by. And a lot of it is spent in the house, but even then, it's beautiful. Like it's constantly moving, the pacing is not, there's no bad pacing in the movie. Every character, they worked all these characters into this plot, and obviously they're not all of the same importance or even important at all, but they all play a part. And there's realistic aspects of it. Even if you're not Japanese, like you can still relate to this movie. You can feel something from the movie. And like, again, I don't have any technical knowledge on, art and stuff or of that nature, but like you said, just everything looks good. Everything feels good. Animation looked good. Obviously there's no high action fight scenes or whatever, but where the animation, I guess, needs to pick up, it looks great. Definitely a highly suggested film for anybody. I think anybody could watch this movie and love it. My wife, I guess I keep bringing her up. She is not into anime or gaming or anything of that nature, but she really liked Summer Wars. And I think it's just a testament to just the quality of the movie itself. Like
it's not anyone just can watch.
Yeah, it's not just an anime. It's not just an anime movie. It's just a good movie. It's a good, heartwarming tale, of family, not of Kenji, not of Natsuki, of the Jinochi family, right? So that's where I would close out my feelings on the movie.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's something I could show to just anyone who has no experience with anime.
Yeah. So, and maybe, one day we can do another Hosoda movie. I don't know. Watching his other stuff, I don't know if they do it the same for me as Summer Wars. I think other people like Mirai a lot more than this, maybe. Not like they directly compared it, but that's another one of his movies that's highly acclaimed. I have it, just need to watch it. So who knows, maybe one day. But fantastic movie.
It's been, you get a recommendation 2 hours into whatever this is.
Right? More recommendations, right? All right. If you're good, I think we can close this one out and do Konosuba.
Konosuba.
Hey, this one's also a mouthful. So
what the
just the title. I'm gonna do it in both English and in Japanese, just to give an understanding. Konosuba, God's blessing on this wonderful world. Legend of Crimson. I think that's a pretty good title. The Legend of Crimson part. I mean, I guess you can just shorten it to Konosuba, Legend of Crimson. But yes, the full Japanese title. Konosubarashi Sekai ni Shukufuku. That doesn't sound right in my mouth, but Shukfuku o Kurenai Densetsu, right? I don't know why I like Densetsu. Densetsu, if you so inclined. I guess that's got to do with Fatal Fury. But that's another explanation that probably won't make any sense to you, so I'm just gonna leave that alone. But yes, Legend of Crimson or Kurenai Densetsu. Produced by JC Staff.
Even though it says produced by JC Staff, I feel like they brought on a lot of animators from the main series.
Oh, definitely. Well, I think they did the main series too, at least from what I looked at. Because I looked at their filmography and they did a decent amount of stuff, but definitely I think they did a lot of movies based on the series that they animate, not necessarily, like other stuff. Like I was surprised that Madhouse was the studio behind Summer Wars. But JC Staff, I guess. I don't know. I don't know too much about them, so I can't be a source on that.
I can probably explain later why I said that earlier.
Okay. Directed by Takomi Kanasaki, and I looked at his filmography. Now he's worked on a ton of stuff, but he only had a few directorial roles. Of course, Konosuba is one. Not just the movie, but the OVAs and the main series. School Rumble season 2 was one of note for me. And I think I haven't watched it. It didn't mean anything to me, but Princess Reconnect, I think that's a recent thing. So
I think so.
He's here and there. I guess not a big name, but I mean, Konosuba is a masterpiece in my book, so I'll give him that. And just a little background knowledge about the movie. It is based off of the 5th volume of the light novel, so it's, I guess, more so a continuation of the story rather than just a direct film or original work. It is based off of the original work.
It takes place after the second season, third season 1.
Yeah. But I still need to watch the OVAs. I don't know when those are placed. I don't know if those come right after or
the OVAs can probably be watched standalone.
Okay. Gotcha. So I guess I can give my opening thoughts on the movie. And I can sum it up in one word, which is hilarious. Hilarious. I guess 2 words, hilarious and great. This movie had me dying laughing from the opening scenes. Like the jokes hit, and you didn't need some of them. Yes, you needed to be into, I guess Japanese anime or maybe Japanese culture or whatnot to, I guess, laugh. But a lot of it is just raw humor. And I was just dying. So was my wife on some of it.
She watched it too?
Yeah, she watched both of them. Which I will say the one shortcoming of the movie is, it expects you to know about Konosuba. Like it's not a Batman movie where we're going to tell you that his parents got killed for the 50th time, right? It's not a Spider-Man movie where he got bit by a radioactive spider. Like if you don't know anything about Konosuba, you'll probably be lost, at least for a little bit of it. So I had to explain a little bit, but I mean, for the most part, you don't need to know too much, I guess, about the world to just enjoy the jokes. The plot progression, even the plot, like, it's got its own little plot within it, right? Like Yun shows up, she basically says that the demon clan is under attack. They realize this is not the case, but then it becomes the case, and then they fight the demon lords out, admiral, and then that's it, right? I mean, it's actually a very easy movie to summarize, but it's just the in-betweens that are hilarious and getting to that point. And I guess I will say it felt like a big, well-animated episode rather than, a movie per se, I guess. I don't know if you felt the same way, maybe not, but for me, it just felt like, I'm coming off season 2. This is just one big movie episode, I guess.
It definitely had a lot more polish than traditional. It's got more attention to lighting and shading and things like that.
Yeah.
Animation quality. Occasionally there are a few spots where some of the wonky face design kind of showed through from the previous second season. So that's where I'm getting the idea that they brought some of the animators of the previous season for this movie, which most likely they did.
Yeah. Which even then, I think it's the quirky animation style of Konosuba that just works so well, right? Like, obviously, they animate it or draw it in a way that just, it's super goofy. Just, they can either go for just simple, I guess, off the wall animation, or they can go for Kazuma's hands. And,
just budget.
Right. That's the budget right there. Those are the money shots, but it is money well spent. Like, my wife was still like, I don't know, she did something with her hands the other day and she loved that. We both did. It's hilarious. Yeah. But I to be honest, I don't know how much there's to say about Konosuba. I mean, of course we're going to discuss it, dig into it, but like, that's really what it is. I think it's just a big, hilarious love letter to fans of Konosuba, or rather an adaptation of the light novel. Very well produced, very well made. Like you pointed out to me before I watched it, like the music is actually fantastic, and we can talk about that a little later.
Music.
Of course, the voice actors are amazing as always. Like all of that, just it's a good combination of everything. I think it's a fantastic Konosuba movie.
There are two very prominent scenes that are like 10 out of 10. The first one being the entire distraction from Kazuma during the boss battle. And Wiz charging up Megaman and Union. The entire scene with the music, the orchestral music, I think is a variation of Megaman's normal explosion magic music. I gotta find the name of it. But either way, that scene, the entire build-up was, I feel, was the peak.
Oh yes, I think that is, we said the hand is the money shot scene, but that is the money shot moment of the movie. Like, just that entire sequence, like, I think they did a good job of, like, which I think Konosuba does a good job of this period, but transitioning, from the jokiness to like it's semi-serious, moment. Like, obviously it's not serious for any significant period of time, but like just everything there, right? It just feels good. Like it works. Like, and again, that music, I think the music really does it. Like, of course the animation is great. Of course, all of that is great, but that music, man, like you feel it. And then she just screams, "Me not it."
The eyes.
And the eyes, like I like the thing that they did with all the crimson demons' eyes, like, or crimson magicians, whatever they call themselves. And the way with the eyes, and then the scene where they Yun and Mega Man hold each other, and then it's like Waga, what is it? Waganawa Yun Waganawa Mega Man. They go on and like I am the greatest magician, this, that, or wizard, whatever. And then I really like the sound design. This may just be a small thing that I notice. Like when she's flipping the staff around for the final explosion, and you hear like that sound, that I like it. Like, I don't know, that was good.
The sound design was great.
Yes, it was. But also, go ahead.
You go ahead.
Well, I was also gonna wrap back around to the other spots you mentioned, like the scene with what's her name, Sedelia, I think was her name, the main antagonist.
Did
Sylvia.
you watch it dubbed or sub?
Oh, I watched it sub. Yeah, sub. They've dubbed it already. They dubbed the movie.
I have no idea.
I don't think they have. Because I looked. Crunchyroll is streaming it, but I think it's just sub. So yeah, Sylvia. And she that whole sequence with her and Kazuma when he comes in, that being an extension of a previous joke, that was just incredibly hilarious. But the Suki Dai, it's like really, but no. And just to further on that point, when Megumi launches the explosion and she blocks it. This is going back to what we were talking about in Summer Wars, right? Where I told you every final boss has something to do with love. And like she's like, and then love, and then she's like, I don't know if it's hope or dreams, but she either says Kibo or Yume. I forget which, but she says both of those.
And then Kibo, I think.
Yeah. Yume and then Kibo. And I was like, they're really wilding right now. But like, I guess what Japanese animators want you to realize is that love is not all it's cracked up to be, and you should fight against it because it will be your downfall. That's what I took from Summer Wars and Konosuba.
Oh, okay. Maybe from Summer Wars, but I don't know about Konosuba.
No, actually, I feel like Konosuba was more direct that way. It was like, you see what happened to Sylvia. She literally would have won if she didn't let love overtake her.
It's
more of just a joke.
She's just lonely.
She's lonely, man. But like, still,
I don't know. I really like the very few seconds where it shows while Megumi is getting charged up, where she's on the ground, just looking at the ground, just thinking.
Yeah.
That short, like 1 or 2 seconds, it was combined with the music was very good.
Yeah, definitely. Like again, that semi-serious moment that is underscored. Even, I don't know what's going on, but yeah, that serious like moment there, just for a second, like Kazuma believes in you, right? Mm-hmm. Do you not believe in your explosion magic? And she just like she's just sitting there, and the music swells, and then she gets up, and she pops off like your average shonen protagonist, but like just really good. Even the part shortly before that, where Aqua is throwing blessings at Kazuma, and they just have that little tender moment for a second where he's like, let's do this, partner. And they just, give their traditional thumbs up to each other. I don't know if there's really any warrant to that. They could have easily just thrown a joke in right there, right? But no, instead they did like a, tender moment leading up to this, I guess, final bravado against this, giant, indestructible Sylvia. So definitely sold the moment. It's really good.
Specifically, Rie Takahashi. Her delivery, her voice acting in general is just terrific. But is that scene, and I think one more scene towards the end I'll expand on later.
Now, Rie Takahashi, she is the seiyuu for which one is she?
She's Megan.
She's Megan. I thought she was. But
she does a lot of other things.
Oh yeah, I looked at her they always have those images of the voice actors next to all the characters that they voice. So she has some notable roles. I was like, I didn't know that, but no, yeah, I think the entire cast is just stand out. Like, I don't know. I don't know if the show would be as good if the voice actors weren't as good as they are.
Right.
Like, just even at the rate that they're delivering these jokes, like the manicness of it in certain scenes, and like the tone and just everything, like everything flows perfectly with the jokes that they're trying to deliver. Nobody's flat. Everything's just fantastic. Even the, supporting cast or the unimportant characters, they're fantastic. Like, let's take, for instance, that scene where, right after the, what is it? Sylvia's army, like they first encounter Sylvia's army when they're right at the edge of the village. And they first encounter those crimson, what are they? So crimson I can say it right. Crimson demons. Okay. That's what I thought. They're crimson demons, right? And they're like just doing their Chunibyo crap. I kill you. And then I died at that, and then I also died at the Saber part where they're like, light up Saber back. Like, just everybody's just on point with their delivery. Like,
you can tell the VAs had a lot of fun.
And I think that's important. Like, they should be able to enjoy it. Like, just go balls to the wall, just whatever it. And they do a fantastic job. But of course, the main characters are the standouts. Like, I could never hear. So just to tangent for a second, I did buy the Blu-ray for Konosuba season 1. It has the dub on there.
Okay.
I don't know if I ever want to watch that, and that's not because I think that might be bad per se, but I know 100% in my bones I do not think they can replicate what the Japanese seiyuu cast has done for this show. Like, they are fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic. And that's not fair to the American dubbers or whatever, but I'm just being realistic. Like, I love these characters. I love their delivery, right? Like, it's just perfect, spot on.
I guess I'll do that second scene I was mentioning about the VA. The scene where Megumin sets off her, quote, last explosion, and the tiniest she gave out was probably one of my favorite parts of her VA, like in all of her roles.
I'll have to go back and was this was the last explosion, right?
Yeah, just after she sets it off and she sees her upgraded explosion.
Oh, you're talking about the very, very end. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
Like, you could feel it that she was not expecting that.
Yeah, like legit torn up. Yeah. That's speaking of Megumin. How much do you know about Konosuba? Like, I guess past what's animated.
Not much.
Not much. Okay. I will not spoil for you. And I guess if I say anything past this point, then I would spoil it for you. So I'm going to abstain from the point I was about to make. I will abstain, and I will redirect this back somewhere else. Let's talk about darkness.
Okay.
I will say there is a real lack of darkness in this movie. Yes, she has her moments. Yes, you see her gag of, her being a masochist or whatever. But like, as far as a main character goes, she's very not present at all for a lot of this movie. Like, even during the exploration parts of the village, right, where they're just, it's not the plot moving forward. It's just them, like, enjoying the village or what have you, or the little personal moments. She doesn't do much. And that's really curious to me because, to be honest, she's, I mean, I love all of these characters, right? Like, they're all good. And I really like Darkness a lot. I like her masochism gimmick, right? And maybe there was just nothing, which, I mean, I guess there's nothing here. Like, the scene with the orcs, which I want to go back to, because, oh my gosh, that was, I love that scene. But, obviously there's nothing there. Like, they did do the gimmick, but I mean, it was just a short lived, like, there's no male orcs, right? Or, her chasing after the demon clan, her talking to the mom about Kazuma because I guess she's jealous or whatever, or that's about it. Like, that's it. Like, she has her moments as a crusader, I guess, standing up to Sylvia, taken over by Veneer, but she didn't do much.
Was it like that in the light novels? Do you know?
I don't know. I forgot where I got to up in the light novels because I started buying them as well, but it's been a while since I've read them. I would think so, honestly, because, again, like I said, at least in the movie, like, I get why she doesn't have that much of a role, but like, it's just kind of odd to me.
I was thinking like they're kind of like balancing out since she got a significant part of her character done in season 2, so they're letting her off easy in the movie.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
This is a Megumin movie.
Yeah, it's definitely a Megumin movie. Featuring Union. And just the whole, like, I guess to go back to that, like, learning how the Crimson Demons were formed was so hilarious. Like, I love the dude's, like, notes. I don't know. I feel like that's sort of realistic in a sense. Like, in most of these fantasy shows, like, I know Konosuba is literally a parody of the genre, but, like, obviously in most of these fantasy shows, like, when you have somebody, leave this note for the future or whatever, like, of a prophecy or whatnot, like, super, like, I don't know, dramatic and all this and foretelling. This dude's like, he was also a masochist. He liked to get beat up by his supporter. Like, he just gave these weebs basically the red eyes and they called him master. He fell in love with their gimmick and he basically created a rifle and I don't know, a giant dildo.
A literal Chekhov's gun.
Right? But I love that scene a lot. That was hilarious to me.
I like how
also, go ahead.
He put a Konami code on the door.
Yes, right. I was like, wow, really? Up, down, left, right. Start, select. I forget the Konami code. It's something like that though. I was like, yeah, this makes sense. This makes sense.
Well, it made sense after they revealed who invented it.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. I guess initially you're like, really? But then, I mean, there's alludes to it just from, like, I guess they having deities of, like, cat girls and, what's the magical girls and stuff like that. So the guy was definitely an otaku in his previous life.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe not even him, but the people of the village definitely are. So I don't know.
I mean, they're designed to be like that.
That's true. So yeah, they're hilarious. Everything was hilarious. You couldn't help but feel bad for Megami. I felt it when Cosmo put his hands over her ears. He was like, "Oh my god."
I don't know. I'd really like to make a in this movie. Well, like, I think she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
When she crawled up in the bed.
Yep.
Oh. Oof.
I was like, and again, I think that speaks to a strength of the voice actors, right? Like the lines, like they can go from all jokey and like whatever, and then she's she just gives like this soft, like, you could, like, why are you pussying out, man? Maybe we could try something. and then here's Kazuma just like, oh,
my popular phase.
All right. They really, I think, expanded on the relationship between Megumin and Kazuma in this movie, though.
Yeah,
a lot.
I don't think they could have done it without Rie Takahashi.
Yeah,
she's probably my favorite VA yet. Even while she's doing all these other, I don't know, jobs.
Fantastic job, I think. She's fantastic, I think. And to be honest, you give her a spotlight, and I agree with the spotlight, to be honest. Just thinking back to the main series, just even if we just broke it down to the explosions, like that, if you want to go back to that very last explosion, like the heft in her voice when she gives it, like she's obviously straining a little bit. Like it is a legitimate, like man, this is my last explosion. And then, the little at the end when she sees like the Gigamax, explosion, like very solid voice actor. Very solid.
No, she does Emilia in ReZero.
Yep, that's what it was.
She also does Takagi and Teasing Master Takagi's son. What else? I don't know. I'll look it up.
I guess if I watch ReZero anytime soon, the newest season, I'll listen out for her. If Amelia's in this season.
Oh yeah, she's
any
there.
Degree. Okay,
she's there a lot actually, even though I've only seen 2 episodes.
Well, I don't care too much about it, but I guess I'll care a little bit more now. I'm a Rim type of guy, so the fact that she is, spoilers for ReZero, the fact that she's in that, memory eaten state, it's kind of sad.
Was that in the first season?
That was season 2. I know we talked about it and I was like, I don't remember much, but I did go back and look up stuff and I remember she got it. Yeah. That was before the fight with I'm just gonna call him Beetlejuice. Beetlegeist, I think was his real name, I forget, but crazy clown dude. With the hands. But anyways, back to Konosuba. Let's talk about the orc chase. I think that set the tone for me on what to expect in this movie. And I don't know if the scenes got any funnier past that. Maybe at least for me, minus maybe like some of the scenes with Kazuma and Sylvia. Oh, actually, no. The family was pretty funny too. But I think the orc chase was like where I just literally lost it. Like that sequence was so hilarious to me. Unimportant in any sense of the word to the movie, but just hilarious.
I don't wonder what the purpose of that was, but it's still funny though.
Yeah, there's no purpose. It was literally just for laughs. But it succeeded, at least with me. Just the fact it gets him down, like the way she slapped his leg and was like, "Get it up, get it up, get it up." And again, the excellent sound design and the excellent voice acting, like just all of it. Like I don't know, I died at that scene. And for some people, that may have been a little too on the nose, maybe a little too much, and that's understandable. I wouldn't disagree with that viewpoint. But for me, it was hilarious. And I guess that goes to another point. I like how, like I told you, to me, it felt like a big episode movie. Part of that was due to, they included the Konosuba, halftime break gimmicks and the even the little quest points, right? So at the end of the little orc thing, you just hear Cosmo like crying out and it's like, Kazuma scarred for life, or stuff, or not scarred for life, but he's just very traumatized. And then next thing you just see him on Aqua's lap, which I will say Aqua played a very maid-like role in this movie. Like just the individual scenes where she's not necessarily talking. She's like preparing tea or letting Kazuma lay on her lap, or what else she do? Oh, casually pulling his pants up at the beginning, when he thought he was going to make a baby with Yun. I like that little touch of her character, cleaning up after Kazuma. But yeah. In the grand scheme of things, the orc chase was not important. And I guess, I don't know, I guess that was really the only scene in the movie that was not really important. I think everything kind of played to the main plot besides that. So, but for me, that was the most hilarious scene. Like just them talking about, I'm going to give you your harem, the way they delivered the line, like the anxiety you felt, like it was really high speed. Like Kazuma was dipping for his life. Although I do beg the question, like Megumin was talking about, she couldn't cast explosion this close, yet she did so just a few scenes later with the demon army. And I was just like, what? So you would save Kazuma then, but you're just going to do it now? Like, okay, sure. Yeah, I don't know. That was a great scene. Great scene. I'd also point out the family, just the entire family, just their gimmick. Oh, go ahead.
Megumin's mom is a 10.
Oh,
I don't know. I just really like her character design.
Oh no. I agree. Like when I first saw her mom, I was like, yeah. That's really all I have to say. But I think you can interpret what that. Yeah. That was a great design. Now I really like. I guess for you would recognize it as Jotaro from JoJo's. At least that design, or a similar Japanese stereotype for the dad. But I think of Bond from Fighting Vipers, which is the Sega fighting game similar to Virtua Fighter. But I liked his design too, and of course Komeko is adorable.
Oh yeah, definitely.
She's extremely adorable. Like I don't know if you noticed, like to particular scenes, like where they're or like the scene where they're like sitting down and still trying to figure out what he is to Megumin, and she's just kind of staring at his face, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so adorable. It's like little creature of adorableness.
I like how he gave them the rest of the food and how they're still super poor.
Right? Like by the end of the movie, they're still poor. In fact, without a home. But I guess that's the entire Crimson Demon clan at this point, because they were wrecked. So who knows? Maybe they maybe since Megumin was the one who saved the village, they got some kind of comeuppance for that. I don't know, but it's just the fact that they were poor. It's hilarious. Can we talk about that letter she sent to them though?
Like, about Kazuma?
Oh yeah, like oddly specific information. Like oddly specific without being literally specific. Like covered in slime. The whole bearing her chest to his back thing. I was like, really? You included this? I didn't really get the right. I didn't get the last one. Which was about what's the cat's name? It's like Chun Nosuke or something. Chunimaru. Chunmaru. I didn't really get it. I got what they were going for. I just didn't get it. I don't know if that was the translator's fault or probably just something lost in translation. But yeah, I was like, dang, Megumin, like, what is this letter? And these are oddly specific moments to highlight from your adventure.
I like how their family being poor was a small. I don't know how to say it, but in the first or second season, you can see Megabin like stealing like bread scraps from the guild, like from the guild kitchen. I don't know what season it was, but I like how they kept that detail.
Yeah. They didn't forget she was not bawling when she stumbled into when she stumbled across, Kazuma and Aqua. So yeah. And I think that was a pretty funny scene as well, like him wanting to flip the table, but the wife's like, no, we don't have the money to replace this. Or just watching Komeko like devour all of those I forget, what are they called again, the little buns, or
I don't know,
I forget what it was. Yeah, but she was just like going through them, and just the fact they were about to throw down just because of the one box. I was like, geez. But I think one character trait of Kazuma, I feel that is important, is his cleverness. At least, well, I mean, they're all idiots, but like Kazuma is not necessarily an idiot, And so I don't understand why he felt the need to tell them that, he was going to inherit 300 million when he saw just how dirt poor they were. And it's not like he said that in a strategic way. He really just said it casually. I don't know. I guess he was just not in the right state of mind when he was watching them. But
I thought it was Aqua that referenced it, and Kazuma was like, not yet, or something under his breath. I don't remember.
No, I think he brought it up. He brought it up to him. He was just like, yeah, I'm going to inherit a fortune soon. And they asked him how much. And he was like, 300 million. And of course, he got the all-star treatment after that.
He also mentioned he has a mansion.
Yeah, he mentioned the mansion too. He didn't have to mention that. So it was just like, Kazuma, my boy, did the orcs really do you that bad? I guess so. So he was not in the right state of mind. And I just like his general perviness. Obviously the mom locking him in the room with Megumin. Then you see the initial like steam coming out of his nose, like, yes. He's like, no.
Studied more law.
All right.
She can't sue me.
She can't sue me. Right. Although I find it hilarious. It's just like, she didn't even say anything. She doesn't peek through the door. Because I've seen this scene, a million times in different animes. The mom tries to, hook up the son or the daughter with the other. She sits outside the door and listens, which I feel is weird, but culture is culture, or at least things in certain media is unique to that media. But just watching her like just kind of almost eerily sit in front of the door each time it happened, while Kazuma is like debating, can I get away with this? It's not so much like, should I do this? It's, can I get away with it? I think that's hilarious, just all those entire scenes. But it culminates to that final moment, I guess, where Megumin's kind of like, or I guess one, where they like start to casually talk with each other, and they seem to develop some sort of, I guess it was already developed, but they tell each other about, their relationship or whatever, and how they feel about each other to a degree, more of a camaraderie, partner, but it's like a kind of an awkward, like, ha ha ha, but and then it culminates with the, under the sheets scene.
Oh, don't worry. I'm not going to do anything. I haven't done anything so far. I guess you're right. You idiot. Right. Of course I would. Who wouldn't take advantage of a situation like this?
Yeah. Any other highlights to you of the movie, I guess?
Highlights? I don't know. It was just a fully enjoyable movie.
Yeah, it was I think that's a good thing to say. The only other thing I could mention is Sylvia. I think she was a pretty good if all right, depending on who you are, antagonist. Yeah, I really like the gimmick of the Crimson Demons just being like super OP, just making sport of the demon army. And the only reason that they even had any kind of contest was just because Cosma, thought he was trapped her in there and didn't realize that she could, absorb things into her body. Again, I feel like these may be sensitive jokes, but I did laugh at the whole Chimera thing where, she's technically a man and a woman. And just the delivery there, where he was like, why do I feel something sticking into my butt? And then she kind of giggles, softly. And then she gets that evil face and she's like, because it is. And then it cuts to Konosuba and it's like, he's like, literally, get your dick off me. Do you want to die? But even before that, the scene where, is right after the scene where they're under the covers and then, he gets cock blocked by the, demons in the village alarm. And he comes out and, he does that Japanese, like, tough guy, voice where it's, I can't roll it, but, that guru. I don't know how to do it. And he's just pissed, but, you get that goofy animation with it. And she's like, eep for a second. And then she's like, wait a minute. She's like, you're not really Mitsurugi, are you? He's like, no. Mitsurugi Kiyoya, he's the other guy who came from the Japan, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, that was
I think
I don't know. Oh, go
ahead. One other small detail, is when Wiz is absorbing the power, the villagers are like, "Hey, the bad guy is absorbing our powers, but he's using it for good." I'm kind of into that.
Yeah, that guy.
They're into the plot. They like the plot.
Yeah, that's true. That's very. I was gonna mention earlier. Speaking of plot, like the girls in this series, or at least in the Demon Village or in the Crimson Demon Village, like, geez, man, like, can we say stacked and just all like attractive outside of maybe like a few that were literally the most background of background characters? Like, like, geez, like,
I'm telling you, man, Megumin's mom has got it going on.
Flat as justice. But with the other ones, like the boob physics were like, after rewatching it a few times, like I did my initial watch, so I didn't pay that much attention, but just like watching Yuns and just some of the other ones, just like the way they move, I was like, they attention to that detail. I'll tell you that much. I don't know, that is a dangerous nation.
I guess that makes
dangerous nation
cheaper to animate.
Oh, I think you're breaking up. Hold on. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm getting here. Oh, okay. He's back. Hello? No, there's no, I can't hear it.
All right.
Oh, there you go.
Testing?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's lagging now. That's probably on my end, to be honest. It's like, you've been doing this for a while, sir. I'm gonna need you to stop.
How long is this? 2 hours 48 minutes. Oh, longer than I expected.
Hold on 1 second. I think it's still doing its thing.
I guess you'll hear it in my end of the audio. Rip, he died. Cut this out.
There we go. I think.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okarinasai.
All right. But continue on. What were you saying?
I forgot.
I know we were talking about the women. I think you made a point of the mom.
Oh, I said Mega Man must be cheaper to animate.
Much cheaper, right?
Well, aside from their explosions.
Yeah. Which I must say, the explosions were very much on point. All of them. The definitely. Effects that they used, like, there was a lot of care. Like this, like you said, this is definitely the Mega Man movie. And that's not a bad thing. Like that was, they did a great job with just her in every instance. Union too, which she played a decently sized role as well. So I
wonder if their relationship will carry over if they make more series or movie.
You mean Mega Man and Union?
Yeah. Like if she would be more involved with the group.
I would imagine, or at the very least, there are the spin-off books, which is literally like Mega Man and Union. I haven't really read those, but I mean, I can't imagine those being, any worse. Probably really good stories. I just haven't gotten into them, so maybe one day I'll check them out. But she may, at least. Well, let me put it this way. I kind of know. I'm not gonna spoil, but there are the spinoffs, so we may look forward to those, to seeing more adventures of Mega Man and Union. So,
I need to find a place where I can read Ellen's translated.
There's a few areas. I can point you to the right direction off the top of my head right now, because normally when I go looking for stuff, I'll just randomly find it. I don't ever bookmark a place. That's probably a bad habit, but well, I don't know. At least with Konosuba, like Summer Wars is the deeper movie, but Konosuba is Konosuba. Not to say it's not deep, but I don't know if there's too much more to say about it. It's hilarious. It's a good continuation of the series. They did a really great job. Like, and there are some, I guess, moments that, I guess pacing wise, it is definitely not as strong as Summer Wars. Just, for one, while it's one of my most favorite scenes, the orc chase doesn't really add anything. They do kind of just explore the village, which makes sense. But like, it's more of a joke movie. Like it's going for the comedy. And I think it succeeds at what it wants to do. You can't just hop into it without at least some explanation or backstory. But once you have that, I think it's a fantastic ride and, one of the best products to come out for Konosuba.
Well,
I can say
it's not that many products.
Yeah, but I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, it's definitely a good evolution. Of course, it's a movie, so obviously it's going to have more budget, but like they did a fantastic job with it. I think there is a season 3 greenlit or is in the works.
Really?
Yes. So I would pray above none else, because I have no worries of the animation, because even if it's ass, like they will work with it. Like the seiyus, and the writers, they will get that going. I just pray that the music, continues to be as solid, because if there is any standout out of everything we talked about, the music is really, really, really good. And I know I've said this already for the seiyus, so maybe just let me say it for everything regarding the audio. This movie would not be what it is without the audio.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that is the definitive aspect of this movie. It is what makes this movie. And I think it's what transitions it to being a fantastic one. You know, the writing's great. Don't get me wrong. The story is, serviceable, but the sound design, the voice actors, the music, like all of that,
definitely,
like that makes the movie. So I would, if anybody goes to watch that, I would say, hell, put on some. I watched it with some headphones, like the ones that muff over your ears, the full surround sound sort of style, and just enjoy, because it is great. It is great.
I've probably rewatched their charge up scene like 20 times.
I actually went on YouTube and found the song and just kind of visualized in my head when I was writing down my notes. Like I just let that play in the background, and I couldn't help but just kind of get stuck in writing the notes because I just think about that scene. I know, right? Notes, right?
Notes. That's probably a good idea for next time, though.
Yeah, I mean, they're not to just use. It's more so just like if I get like tongue tied or I forget where I'm at, like I can at least look at my highlights. So, but yeah,
when I was looking up the music for that scene, the magic to vet life and belief, or something similar along that. I see that a lot of people like just looped that orchestral part, then they call it the good part only, or the best part only.
I mean, I don't disagree, but at the same time, like the entire piece is just fantastic. Like you really can't just displace, the, I guess is it crescendo? I forget what it's called, but just, the part that, is obviously the climax. You have to build up to it, like it builds up, and it's really just beautiful music. Like if you just listen to it on its own, like it's great. And I really think certain pieces, I don't even know if it's the same piece that plays during that scene, but it really sells like this adventure feel. It's almost game like, which is a big part of the design and world of Konosuba. It's a fantasy world. It's an isekai, a parody, or maybe even a deconstruction if you want to go so far to say, but it is isekai, and just that music, it's just like we're going on an adventure, right? So good.
At what point does it stop being isekai? Because Kazuma doesn't really do anything regarding his previous life.
That's true. I mean, yeah, when you stop calling it an isekai and you call it a fantasy series, and I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, it's still they're still trying to beat the Demon King so that he can, I guess, get his wish fulfilled or go back to Japan or whatever he wants to do. And, Aqua, even if he doesn't really want to go back, like Aqua, wants to go back to heaven. So she will always be a driving force for him getting off his butt and, doing what he needs to do.
Well, I guess in the movie they did some callback to his real life where he's going to sell Veneer his ideas from the real world for what I assume was like machines and technology.
Oh yeah,
if they found the craftsman for it.
Yeah, which I mean, that's how he got that mansion. Before like he got a buttload of money from Veneer for selling off an idea, and he just continues to do that. Like I guess Veneer, I think it was Veneer read his mind, and it knew that Cosmo was basically like, what's the word, like cheating him, but he was like, I don't care, I'll take it. I'll take this whatever in exchange for this, I'll take all the intellectual rights for this if you take this money. So yeah.
No problem.
I know I'd do that, or at the very least, maybe I'd sell Veneer like the intellectual rights for machinery to build things. And then I would build, the stuff that I could make billions off of. And then, maybe give him little side products and, just make millions. But at that point, he was living in the barn and stuff. And so like quick, lots of money.
Anything to close out?
Konosuba. Nope. Konosuba. Konosuba.
Konosuba.
Yep. I think that's that, and I guess we can just wrap up. Yeah. Still don't have a name, so maybe we'll think of one. But this is pretty
3 hours.
Right, pretty enjoyable, long but enjoyable 3 hours. I probably next time we do what we're watching, I guess.